Brother Ben here. Brother Ben. Now, Ben got a heck of a program. A lot of people listening to Brother Ben. And Ben tells them about the minister. And Ben tells them about the minister.
Welcome to this morning's power call. Welcome to this morning's power call. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, I bear witness there is no God but Allah. Muhammad is his messenger. I would like to greet you all with the greeting words of peace. We said in the Arabic language of Assalamu alaikum. For those who don't know, that simply means peace be unto you. Hopefully you all had a productive weekend. Those of you all who are in building wealthy families, I hope y'all took heed of the advice that you guys were given of what you guys should do yesterday and over the weekend as it pertains to looking at those replays, getting some rest, and really preparing yourself mentally with some of the things that Sister Courtney advised you guys to do as far as your time, mapping out your time, scheduling your classroom time to be non-distracted, because this week is going to be a good week. Oh, this week right here, man, we're going to really get into some teaching and growing. And those of you all who are just tuned in on the power call, hopefully you guys had a great weekend as well and did something productive. Today we're going to be talking about the tearing and rebuilding of family. I didn't see where to download the schedule. Yes, inside of the curriculum. If there's anything that you guys ever don't see or need help with, please always put it inside the school so that we can get it to you as soon as possible. So if you don't see it, just tag Sister Courtney and she'll get it to you. All right, today we're going to be talking about the tearing down and rebuilding of family. And we got to get out of here at 9, so we're going to get started ASAP. So we can have 30 minutes for feedback. Well, around 30 minutes for feedback. So here we go.
And so today, of all the families of earth, the black family suffers the most. After 300 years of not being allowed to marry, something happened after slavery. We jumped the broom. I don't care how primitive the ceremony was. In the South after slavery, in the North after slavery, there was a mom, a dad, and children. Talk to me. We were poor papas, but we were there. As a young boy, I would see the men in the neighborhood going off in the morning with their lunch pail. The women were at home nurturing the children. I didn't live in the South. I grew up in Boston, Massachusetts, but the South was a mother, a father, a grandma, a grandpa. And we went out in the fields and worked for Mr. Charlie. Whatever pay Master Charlie gave us, we would bring it home. As we were approaching the little shotgun house, front door, back door. You go in the front, take a few steps, you're out the back door. But in that house, there was some family. There was love. There was God. And as the old man started walking toward the house, he could smell the muffins cooking in the oven. He could smell the chicken in the pot, or the possum, or the coon, or the rabbit that they shot. So when he got in the house, a meal was waiting for him. His wife, wiping the sweat from her brow, went out to the little market and picked the fresh vegetables. There was no Sara Lee. There was no pop it in the oven and get it out in a minute. There was time spent cooking dinner for daddy, for the children, and then mommy and daddy sat down and daddy said the prayer. Daddy knew how to pray. And everybody bowed their head and said, amen, and then we ate. We may have put our hand around the plate because one of our siblings might steal our chicken if we weren't looking. But quiet as it's kept in that simple life, there was family. There's an old African saying, it takes a village to rear a child. We were poor. We were half clothed. We were poorly housed. But we were richer than we are now. With all our Mercedes Benz and Cadillacs and fine homes and diamond rings and designer clothes. We had something then that we don't have now. We had a better family life after slavery than we have right now. Because when they let us out, even under emancipation, we yet not free, but at least we understood we had to get married. If we jumped over a broom, whatever we did, there was marriage. Look in the shacks in the South. As sharecroppers, there was a mother, a father, and children. Check it out. Dad was a working dad. He went out chopping cotton, or he went out hunting coon and possum. But the woman was in that shack helping to rear those children. And when it was quitting time, the pot was on the stove. And you could smell the food when Papa was coming out of the field. He could smell the victuals cooking. When Mama was in that house, children heard Daddy's footsteps coming like Adam heard the footsteps of God in the garden, and the children started pulling themselves together. Please, Mama, don't tell Daddy what I did today, because Daddy represented the discipline in that house. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And in that house, we had hardly nothing, but we had each other. And God was in that shack. When we sat down at the table, you didn't eat nothing without saying a prayer. And you got down on your knees before you went to bed. And when you woke up in the morning, you thank God for waking you up. That's the old days. You got beautiful apartments, you got homes, you got cars, you got diamond rings, you got mink coats. Oh, you dressed up now. But you don't have a good marriage. And your home life is terrible. and there is no discipline in your home. Any home that doesn't have rules is a home where there really is no love. Children growing up with no rules in the house. And a father today can't even enforce rules. If he spanks the behind of his son or his daughter, and a whelp is on his or her butt, she called 911. And here comes the police. You see what my mama did? You see this whelp on my arm, on my back, on my butt? Mama did that to me. You did that, Miss Jones? This is abuse, Miss Jones. We'll have to arrest you and take your child. I said, well, I'll be. This is supposed to be a Christian nation. Spare not the rod. Spoil the child. To everyone within the sound of my voice, your behind was made for that. Yes, it was. What is a little whelp on your butt? There was a little old lady that used to come to my house when I was a little fella. She was about 4'10", real dark skin, short hair. She was from the beautiful island of Barbados in the Caribbean. She had a lot of children, and she disciplined her children, and all of them turned out to be giants. And this one day she was beating her son, and he was screaming to high heavens, and the neighbors called the police. So a big Irish policeman came, knocked on the door while she was in the middle of the business. And when she opened the door, he said, pardon me, ma'am, I got a call that they heard screaming coming from this apartment. Are you whipping your child? She said, yes. Come in and close the door. She looked at him. She said, your mother beat you? He said, yes, ma'am. She said, mm-hmm. She said, you see that stick on your waist and that gun on your hip? Mm-hmm. You know why I beating mine today? I beating mine today so you don't have to beat it or shoot it tomorrow. So you She told him, so you stand right there while I break your ass. And she pulled him out from under the bed and worked him over. And when she was finished, she said, no, you can go. Now today, they can beat you within an inch of your life with a stick and then take you before the judge and justify beating you down. They can shoot you 19 times, and then a board of inquiry will say justifiable homicide. But you mean to tell me I can't justify putting a strap on my baby's behind? Authority is being taken from the parents.
Satan is in the house. Satan ruling the house. We got to take back our houses from Satan. And this is why I'm asking those more than 1 million men, come on back to Washington. Bring your wives. Bring your girlfriends. Bring your children. And let's reconstruct family life among our people. Family life, if it is reconstructed, will give us the power as a family to ward off the dangers in the society that are coming against the family. They wanted us to be forever their property. So they separated us from our parents and then nursed, beat fear into us. Like the lion that you see in the circus sitting up doing tricks. That's not a lion. That's an old lion. That's a lion that was reared as a cub to fear a little whip and a chair. But you can't teach the old lion to do that. With one swipe of his paw, the head of his trainer comes off. That's all, just a light tap. But the cub that has been trained against its nature does not know its own strength. So it is with you, black people. They took us away from our parents, and they bred fear into us, and then they deprived us of the human right to know. So for 300 years, we were bought and sold, bought and sold. You do that to a human being for 3 centuries and see, will human values still be found in them? You disallow human beings to love and to marry and to have family, and see what you produce. You breed the black man like a stud horse, and the black woman having no say-so over her own body. The black man went into her making babies that he was not expected to support. And now you raise in hell in the various state legislatures of America that you are tired of these nigger men making these babies for you to support. Well, that's the fruit of your own wickedness done to them in slavery. These black men want to be responsible, but their condition is so wretched. There's hatred now between the black man and the black woman. The black man doesn't trust the black woman. The black woman loves the black man but knows he's not ready. So as Jesus said, a house divided against itself cannot stand. So the black man is reared as a stud. So his brains is in the head of his male organ. He does not have the knowledge to rule himself nor his house. He's been made into an animal, but he's not an animal. He's in the nature of God, but he has to be resurrected from a state of mental, moral, spiritual, social, political, and economic death. You don't lynch black people, burn them at stake, drag them behind automobiles, cut off their ears, cut off their fingertips, and use them as souvenirs, like a July 4th picnic.
Yes, sir.
You don't put hot pokers into the vagina of a female. You don't split their bellies and watch the fruit of their womb fall to the earth and crush it under your foot. Don't tell me that these things have not been done. You wrote it in your own books. This is not from our own house. You didn't want us to read. You didn't want us to write.
Right.
You didn't want us to read the Bible. You locked the Bible.
Right.
You didn't want us in your church. So we used to be in the field,
Right.
making up songs about you.
Right. That's right.
We used to hear you in church praying, and we would wonder who you were praying to. So we sang an old Negro spiritual. Everybody talking about heaven ain't going to heaven. Because you were talking about heaven, but we knew if there really was a heaven, how in the hell could you go there with the evil that you were putting on us and everybody on the earth?
Come on, brother. It's on the preaching. Tell the truth. Go ahead.
For 3 whole centuries, we lived like this, brothers and sisters.
That's right.
And 100 years up from slavery, this is the effect. And a wicked scientist of evil now is taking advantage of this condition of self-hate that we are in. We hate the blackness of our skins.
That's right.
We hate the kinkiness of our hair, the broadness of our noses, the thickness of our lips. We have been made to think that we are some ugly people. Everybody else is beautiful, but we are ugly. Well, I can't help that if you think we are ugly. But I don't have to think what you think. Since these are my lips, I ought to be able to look at my lips and say they look good to me. If this is my kinky hair, I ought to be able to look at my kink and say, hey, God, I know you know what you're doing. It's all right with me. I ought to be able to look at the way I'm built and say I wasn't given no flat posterior. I was given something I could sit down on. I ought to take pride in the way God made me. And when I learn better, I will praise God for the melanin content in my skin. When I know better, I will know that I'm a natural child of the universe. The sun is not my enemy, the sun is my friend. When I understand, I won't be ashamed anymore, because I will know that I am first. And if there be a last, I am the last. I will know that I am Alpha, I am Omega, I am the beginning and the ending, so saith the Lord. It's time to make a family. You can't make a family until you start like God started in the Genesis. Like he started in the Quran, you have to make a man. And God said, let us make man. He didn't say, let us make a nigga. That's right. Let us make something that don't know what it is. Go ahead, Brother Mary. God said, let us make a man. Look at this now. This is how you start the family. Because there's no family without a man. You hear me, brother? Yes, sir. All these women got babies with no man. That's not a family. That's a woman without a husband, children with no father. A woman with no man. That's not a family. That's right. That's right. God said, let us make man. Make him how, God? In my image, in my likeness. Then what, God? I'm going to breathe into him of my inspiration. Quran now. That's right. You can't be a man without wisdom. Man is not having a male organ, brother. Horse got an organ. Bull got an organ. But it's still a bull. A man with a male organ with no sense is an animal. That's right. So to make a man, you have to breathe into him, give him wisdom, knowledge, understanding, so that he now develops the wherewithal to do what God said, multiply, replenish the earth, and subdue it. God wants every man to be a producer. You can't produce without knowledge, brothers. You can't multiply without knowledge. It ain't just talking about having babies. Multiplication is take your multiplier times your multiplicand, get a product. Take what God gave you, take what's around you, produce something. Every man must be a producer. In the nature of every man is the innate ability to produce, the potential to produce. But in a racist society, there's no avenue for you to become a producer. So the poor black man is crushed under racism. That's right. He's not a producer. And because he's not a producer, he's very frustrated. Right. There's not a black man in here that's balanced without being a producer. If he's producing nothing, how do you think he feels? Even if he don't even know he's supposed to produce, innately he knows. So mentally he's disturbed. You'd be surprised the pressure that this black man is under. He's under so much stress right now. Hypertension. He's suffering from high blood pressure. He's overweight. Stroke. He walks the street. He's in bad shape. He wants to get out of this condition. He's not this way by nature, sister. He don't have nobody to show him a way out of this. Preacher ain't showing him no way. Teacher ain't showing him no way. Politician's not showing him nothing. You're robbing him of his mind. The society using him, send him to war in the Gulf. Wherever America got a war, you use us. When we come home, no place in the society for us, no jobs for us. We've never been taught how to make a job for ourselves. We've been taught to be like children, depending on white people to do these things for us. And now there's no more job opportunities And they're not going to teach us how to create a job for ourselves. So here these men are. They're good men. Potentially, they're all good men. The prison is full of us, but they're potentially good men. They're not criminals by nature. They're criminals by circumstance. Black men need to be given a chance to make something out of themselves. God said, let us make man. Elijah Muhammad, whatever you want to say about him, he breathed into Malcolm when Malcolm was Malcolm Little, and he made him Malcolm X.
That's right.
You can wear the X on your cap, but do you understand who gave you the X and why?
Come on, Brother Minister. Go ahead, please. Come on. Direct us, please.
Spike, you can put the X on your cap, Spike. But X stands for the unknown. Malcolm was Malcolm Little. Little is a white man's name. Like your name is Johnson, Jones, Smith, O'Reilly, Culpepper, Overstreet, Underbrook, Roundtree, Woodchuck. These are not your names. These are the names of your former slave masters. So Malcolm gave up the name of the slave master and took an X, which stood for the unknown, so he could qualify himself to wear one of the names of God. And he died El-Hajj Malik Shabazz. He didn't know that until Elijah Muhammad taught him.
That's right. That's right.
Life was breathed into him. And we have to breathe life into our people, particularly the black man. Once you black brothers come into knowledge, knowledge will turn the light on in here, and it will allow you to judge your own actions under the light of intelligence. And you will see that the smoke that you smoking, it's not good. You put it aside. That's not religion. It's just common sense. Don't kill yourself. God gave you life. Hold on to it. You look at crack for what it is. You look at coke for what it is. You look at heroin for what it is. And that's why when we heard the teaching of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we took all of that stuff and threw it away because we don't need it. And then we came into unity and we pooled our resources. Then we set up our own schools. We don't want white people to teach us Little Black Sambo and how Christopher Columbus discovered America and how Abraham Lincoln freed us and all that crap. If you want your children to be free, you have to take the reins of education into your own hands. Don't let your slave masters teach your children.
Come on, Brother Minister.
Or take control of the schools. Well, how you going to live without economic development? Brothers, we are producers. If you want your women to respect you, you have to produce for your women. White men produce for white women. And for our women too. That's why our women respect them. They're producers. Women love producers. They can't fall in love with you, stay in love with you. They'll fall in love with you because you're cute. But cuteness don't last. They used to have a saying when I was a youngster, romance without finance is a nuisance. And every woman in here, brother, if you haven't got any money, your cute looks will find an ugly man in your place. They got some money, brother. Women like producers. They're not your women, they're the women of God. They love stars. Star means a witness bearer. of the majesty of the Creator. Women, when they see stars, they scream, you know, they holler. Because it's a it's a resemblance of God's majesty. You want women to love you, brother, you got to be a star. And I saw 144,000, and these were the stars. Stars of God. You got to be a producer, black man. You can do it, we can do it. Right here in San Francisco and Oakland, we can do it, we must do it. After you make the man, God made the woman. God made the woman, according to the Bible. Well, there's a lot of science in that really needs to be understood. Women been here from the beginning, brother. Women have been here from the very beginning. But in truth, woman is like the second self of man. Paul says she's part of you. You should love her because she is you. She's a part of you. The Creator created us of a single essence, and He created our mate of the same kind. Woman is the consoler of the man. What do you mean by that, Farrakhan? The Quran teaches, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us, that the only heaven that a man has is a woman. You don't have to die to go to heaven, brother. Now, what do you mean that my only heaven is a woman, brother? A woman is a powerful creature, brothers. If you really understand woman, she is what God created to console us and give us peace and quiet of mind if we do our duty as men in our relationship to God. Listen to me now. A woman, the way He created her, look at the soft lines of her creation. Now, I don't mean look at them. I mean, think of it as I'm talking to you.
All right.
Sisters, you are made so attractive. Just the way your body is formed gives rest. It's true. It's just true. Don't be angry with me now. I'm not being vulgar. I'm not being vulgar. You already know what I'm saying. That's why you want men to see the form. That's why you wear these tight clothes. You want them to catch that hip and the line of your bosom. Come on. You want to be sure that he sees whatever is following you. And you put on high heels and you make noise. You want him to get a good look, don't you? Yes, you do. You wear expensive perfume so that after you walk by,
He'll not only see you and take a picture of what he saw, but the scent will remain. And the poor man will develop that picture and begin to want you, and in the middle of the night, he'll wake up messed up. Woman is powerful, brother. Lord, she's powerful. But I'm going to tell you something. The same woman that give you heaven, oh, brother. Oh, brother. Listen, brothers, wait a minute. Wait a minute, sisters. Don't be mad at me. I know I got into hot water, but I'm going to get out quick.
Go ahead, brother.
Sisters. God made you as the heaven. You are the maker of home. And home is heaven. When you got a real home, that's heaven. There's no man want to leave home if his home is right. Home is heaven. And you, mother, are the maker of home. So you're the keeper of heaven. Now, when you got a man, listen now, and he's not a producer. Now, here it is. Here it comes. Now. He won't work. He wants to sit around and look at the soaps while you go to work. Now heaven is turning into something else. You sitting here all day doing nothing. Now she's on your case. And brother, there ain't nothing like a woman's tongue to cut a giant down. She'll cut not only the beanstalk, but Jack. Sisters, rough. Women lay in bed at night studying us, brother. While we snoring, they studying.
Wake us up, brother.
We got to make a family. And in order to make a family, we have to know and understand our role as man and our role as woman. And we cannot run away from the role that God and nature gave to us. God made man the producer. And the Quran says Allah made men the maintainers of women. Oh, wait a minute, Farrakhan. I'm an independent black woman. I don't need no man to maintain me. I maintain myself. Yes, sister, you've had to do that. You've had to do that. And I'm not faulting you for doing that. You had to do it because we weren't on the job. But when a man is on the job, he does not give a woman a baby, then send her out to work. Do you know rearing children and making them giants in the earth is a hell of a responsibility? In this world, they feed you that which titillates your sex drive. You can't turn on the radio. What are we hearing? I'm gonna sex you up. Big hit. Filth. Day in, day out. Filth. Degenerate songs, raps that are low down. You're made by what you eat, mentally as well as physically. Now, if you are feeding on that kind of filth all day long, you got these little young girls at 9 years old developed. Because white folk making meat with hormones to get the meat ready for market quicker, faster, bigger. So you eat up all this Wendy's, McDonald's, Burger King, greasy food, and you wonder why your daughters have breasts at 9 bigger than yours at 39. What's the matter? You know I'm right.
You're right, brother.
She got a doll baby in one hand and a sanitary napkin in the other hand. She's 9 years old. You're not there to look out for your daughter because you got to work. So your little daughter growing buxom at 10. Strange men watching your daughter coming home from school. You're not there to watch your children. Somebody is, though. So your daughter gets on, turn on the radio. They don't want no talk radio. They don't want nobody on radio that makes sense. They want more funk and more filth. And your children sitting there listening, or they got their cable TV on watching these videos. All day rap videos. 9 years old, 10 years old, 12 years old. What do you think is in their mind? They know all the songs. Ain't learned no lessons, but they know all the songs. And when you listen to the words that they're saying, then you come home and find your little daughter pregnant. You're going to beat her up, but she's not the culprit. She's a victim. Your little neighbor, your boy, the boy next door that got her pregnant, he's a victim too. We're all victims of a system that has disrupted family, an economic system that forces the woman out to work and is crippling the black man with no work, so the man is just gone. He's making babies because that's the only source of pleasure left to him. There's no other pleasure for a man in life anymore but sex. And even that is becoming non-pleasurable because of aid. He's scared now. Don't know what he's gonna come up with. We got to come up out of it. And whenever a man knows God, he'll come to be a real man again. And whenever a woman knows God and knows a real man, she'll become a real woman. And then we'll produce real marriage between male and female. Not a marriage based on foolishness, but a marriage based on our commitment and duty one to the other. And then from that marriage, you will produce offspring born for greatness. You can produce all the prophets again from the womb of these women. We must make a family, and we must preserve and protect the family. The laws of God found in the Old Testament and in the Quran are laws that protect the sanctity of family. And you cannot protect family unless you protect marriage. When two people are married, it is our duty to stay out of that family in a filthy way. Once we come into the family, listen carefully now. You see a woman married to a man, she's having a problem with her man, but she wants to stay in her marriage, then somebody comes in and eases up at a time when she's vulnerable to take advantage of her. See, in the Old Testament and in the Quran, adultery is punishable by death.
You know why we kill the adulterer? Because the adulterer is killing family. And anybody that destroys family is destroying the basic unit of civilization and must be killed. That's the law of God. If that law were enacted today, all of us probably be dead. Thank God for his mercy. Now, brothers and sisters, in a family, when you produce daughters, a daughter is very sacred in a family. Today, men in the family are ripping off their own daughters. White men, black men, I haven't heard this of Asian men. I don't know that this is happening. It is happening? Tell me about it. But you'd be surprised at how many black women have been molested by their fathers, their uncles, their brothers, their grandfathers. And sometimes the sisters are in such pain they can't tell nobody what they're suffering. I've seen mothers who kind of knew that their husbands were hitting on the daughters, and they turned the other way like they didn't know nothing. And I say to you, sisters, as a mother, it is your duty to protect your children. That is your duty. When I was a young Muslim, my wife came home and said, Elijah Muhammad in the women's class told the women, don't let a man stay home with his daughters alone. When I heard my wife say that, I was very angry. I said, what are you talking about? Because it was foreign to me that a man would do something to his own daughter. I got angry. Really, I didn't understand what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, why he would say that. But as I lived, I began to hear cases where men were making their daughters pregnant. I mean, it was really sick. It's really sick. But you know why that's happening? You know, daughters love fathers with a pure love. Do you know that men are boggled of mind with the pure love of a loving daughter or a loving granddaughter? And you know what, mothers? You get so frustrated with life and the problems, you eat and eat and eat and eat. And all of a sudden, and you no longer look like you used to look when you attracted your husband, but your daughter is your image of the way you were. And before you know it, the daughter gets to be a teenager. She's competing with you for the father's love and affection. He comes in, he says, I'm tired, I'd like something to eat. Well, fix it yourself. And you've gone upstairs, but the daughter says, Daddy, I'll fix it for you. And she'll go make his sandwich or make something for him. And he's looking at his precious little daughter. And he finds himself falling in love with her. But it's really you, the way you were, not you, the way you are. Isn't that sad? So in closing, sisters, you know what you got to do? You got to fall back in love with you again. And you got to take this weight up off of you and get yourself in shape. White women are busy in health clubs, getting their little flat self firm so they can attract whoever and whatever. You ought to get busy, sister. Even if you don't have a husband, you should love yourself enough to want to stay on this planet as long as you can, and too much weight is killing our nation of people. Brothers, it's the same with us. Brothers, it's the same with us. You know, gravity is constantly pulling on you. And when you get old, you ain't fighting against gravity. Gravity will grab your chest and just pull it down on you. And one day you look, brother had these big muscles. Now he needs a brassiere. Gravity that took your chest and pulled it down, and you flopping in the wind. I'm not trying to be funny. Even if you're 90 years old, do a little exercise. Take a little small weight and do some exercise with it so you can keep the muscle tone against gravity. You start like this, then gravity begins to pull on you. And you don't even realize it. The shoulders, instead of being up and back, they start drooping. And then stooping. And then gravity starts pulling you. You used to be 6, now you're 5'10". Yes, grave is calling you, brother. Now, I don't know about you, but I want to stay out of the grave as long as I can. And I would advise you, stay up out of it. Right. And all this stuff that you got around here, your waistline is your lifeline. These brothers with these big tires around your gut. Come on, brothers. That's not going to work today. Go home, take off all your clothes, and look in the mirror when nobody's looking and check yourself. And see what too much eating of the wrong food have done to you. Your gut down on the knee. Just folds of fat.
Warm fat.
And don't you think that your wife don't want to see you the way you were? She see this big tub of lard rolling up in the bed, brother.
Go ahead.
Brothers and sisters, help yourself. Do better by yourself. Let's make a family and let's keep our health. Eat the right foods. Eat good food. Prepare the best food for this body. This is a sacred body produced by the Creator himself. This is better than any church, any cathedral, any mosque. This is the real house of God. Take care of it. Respect it. Huh? If you look at Genesis, you find that God created the heavens, the earth, and then the Bible says on the 6th day, he created the man. He created everything for the human, and then put the man and the woman in a garden. And then, according to the teachings of the Holy Quran, he made the sun, the moon, the stars. Everything to be subservient to the human being. That's how great the human being is in the eyes of the Creator. The Bible says that the man, and when it says the man, it means the man and the woman, because Adam, according to the 5th chapter of Genesis, it says male and female created he them and called their name Adam. So when you talk about man in the image and likeness of God, don't leave woman out. She's in the image and likeness of God too. All right. Now, it is God that said, it is not good that the man should be alone. I like that. You know, this would be a hell of a world, brother, if we was in it alone, just us men. So God found a way to make us happy. And so it was God himself that instituted marriage. So marriage without God is not marriage. Marriage is only marriage if it is centered in him who created us and gave us these complementary natures that we would relate to each other and bring joy and peace to marriage. Marriage is only marriage if it is centered in him who created us and gave us these complementary natures that we would relate to each other and bring joy and peace to each other. This is the way he constructed us. Look at this now. From these two, he produced, or they produced, Cain and Abel. But the two of them had already messed up. So this was the first dysfunctional family. Right. That's right. And so we are descended from dysfunction. So now you can see why you raising the kind of hell that you're raising. Now he has Cain. Cain is the elder. Right. Abel is the younger. I don't know why it is that the elder brother, he catches it, man. Right. And the younger brother seemed to get the props, you know. I don't understand it, but let's look at it. Cain wants to please God. Right. Abel wants to please God. And God is more pleased with the offering of Abel and rejects the offering of Cain. Well, the older brother said, man, what is this, you know? So, look at this. God speaks directly to Cain. Cain, why is your face falling? How you do when you ain't feeling too good? Your face literally falls. When you don't feel good, is a look that you get. And the face falling is really gravity. Boy, this is something for you to think about. See, when you're alive, in obedience to God, you are always fighting gravity. When your mind sinks, gravity pulls the face down. So God, you know, talks to Cain, hey, man. Not like that, but it's like a modern translation. You know. Hey, man. Why is your face falling? Then he asked him, why are you wroth? Right. Anger now has come up in Cain. Angry because he
he was not validated by God. Angry because he didn't get the type of attention from God that he thought he deserved. Angry now because his brother was accepted, his offering was rejected. He's angry. Then God says, Cain, sin lieth at the door. You don't have to go there, man. God is talking direct to this fella. Yes, sir. He didn't pay God no attention. Right. That's right. And instead of his asking God, what is it, God, about my brother's offering that you accepted? And what is it about mine that you rejected so that I can make myself more acceptable to you? But he didn't do that. And most of us in our families don't do that either. When one person in the family gets exalted above the other, you got to watch these feelings that come up in the heart now. See, this one getting more attention from the daddy or from the mommy, and then you begin to get these funny feelings. Well, why she like her more than me? Why she like him? And then you start examining yourself to see, well, what's the difference between him and me? So if he's lighter and you're darker, and you say, oh, I know why. It's because of his color. I'm too dark. That ain't necessarily what mom is thinking, but you start thinking crazy. And you may be thinking right, too. But the point is, you feel bad. Cain, instead of rationally thinking this thing through, he let anger overtake him. He let anger turn into envy. And envy turn into hatred. And hatred turn into murder. Yeah, that's right. And that's in the first family. So the family was doomed from the beginning. So when God sent Moses, he sent him to structure a nation. It had to start with the family and start first with, I believe and will not set up a rival or a partner with God. The Lord my God is one God. Now when you try to play the game, let me show you how the game is played. God wants family. Because you can't have a strong society, a strong nation, unless you have strong marriage, strong family life. So the harshest punishment that God meted out was against those things that interrupt and destruct family life. Adultery is bad. Not in this society. But adultery is bad because it breaks in to the oaths that we take. It breaks our word. And it breaks the bond of trust and confidence between two people. Once the trust is broken, the confidence is broken. It's very difficult to rebuild it. So God punishes the adulterer with death. God punishes the adulteress with death. Why? Because you are killing the nation. You look at this as just a simple sex act. But God is saying if this stuff continues, the nation is going to fall. So we got to stop it in the home so it does not destroy the community and the nation. Now check this now. See, when we get ready to do something that we know God don't want us to do, check out how we think. All right. I live in an apartment on the 3rd floor, and this beautiful woman lives on the 2nd floor, married to a dude that I don't think is really worthy of that pretty woman. Lay it out, sir. Lay it out, sir. Lay it out. I'm on the 3rd floor, and I hear an argument break out on the 2nd floor. And I hear thumping going on. Lord have mercy, that man beating that fine-looking woman. The next morning, she's carrying the garbage out, and I happen to be carrying the garbage out too. And I'm gonna get into some garbage in a minute, but so we come down the stairs. Miss Jones, how are you? I'm not doing so well. I can see you look kind of bruised around your eye.
Speak on.
I heard something last night. Did your husband hit you? Yes. Now he's making inroads.
Right.
He said, you know, I never hit my wife. Lie. That's a shame. Is there anything
Right.
I can do? And she says, well, no, I think I'll handle it. The next time he does it, I'll just call 911. Oh, no, baby. Next time he do something like that, you just call upstairs. Now, the man go to bed that night, he ain't thinking about nothing but what happened downstairs. Now he playing with his mind, see?
Right.
And when the circumstance allows it, he really says,
Go ahead.
the conscience within say, you shouldn't do that. He said, yeah, I know, but
Right.
I like her, you know, she just in pain and I need to console and comfort her, you know what I'm saying? So after you talk yourself into it, what you've done, you've set up a God beside God. You already know that he commanded you against this. You've rationalized disobedience to God to justify your rebellion. Now you're going into sin, but it's a sin of huge proportion because the Lord your God is one God, but now you have put your desires, your biological urges above the commands of God. So you have set up a God beside God. Now you've done two things. And it is the setting up of a God beside God that allows you to do all those other sins. Do you follow what I mean? So when the Bible said the wages of sin is death, it starts here in the mind. But your system is so mathematically constructed. I want you to hear me well. That's why when they put their finger here and they feel the pulse, they look at their watch. Because you're supposed to be right on it. Boom, 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 boom. They put something on your heart and listening. They take your blood pressure. It's supposed to be at a certain pressure on the top and the bottom figure for you to be normal. Because human beings have a regulated affair by divine law. But sin, because sin is not your nature. When you start breaking the law, you start interfering with the balance inside your system. That's what is called dis-ease. You're not at ease, and it brings on disease. Do you understand? All right. I didn't know Farrakhan was going to talk like this. Well, I didn't know either.
They don't know Farrakhan.
But you know, that's right. But brothers and sisters, listen. This may be a very spiritual kind of subject, but it goes to the core of what is happening with us as a people
and with the nation itself. Let me close that point by saying Jesus said, when in the Bible they asked him for a sign of the end, he said, this wicked and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign, but no sign shall be given to you except the sign of Jonah. As Jonah was in the belly of the fish, the great fish, 3 days and 3 nights, so shall the Son of Man be in the heart of the earth. The Holy Quran has a chapter called Yunus, Jonah, because Jonah was a sign of the Prophet Muhammad. Jonah was a sign of the Messiah, Jesus. Jonah was reluctant to accept his responsibility, but Jonah went to the king, and the king was convicted by Jonah pointing out the wrong. And the king put on sackcloth and ashes, and then the people put on sackcloth and ashes, and through the principle of atonement, they were spared the destruction of Nineveh for a long, long time.
Yes, sir.
So Jesus was saying to them, look, you so wicked today that the only way you can come out from the wrath of God is that somebody got to point out to you how messed up you are, and then you have to put on sackcloth and ashes and be a repentant soul and atone for what you have done and never return to that conduct again, and God will forgive you, God will bless you, God will increase you, God will empower you to be all that you know you have the ability to be. But you got to do what you got to do first. Now check this out. Here's Jesus talking this. And to my Christian brethren, you know, you say Jesus died for us and for our sins.
Hallelujah.
You say that, and then what do? You say he died for me, so I'm free now. I can boogie down. Because he paid it all for me. Wrong.
Teach.
Wrong.
Teach.
Beloved family, what Jesus did in his suffering was to open a way for us to come back to God. But for you to think that he paid it all and you can continue to do what you do and you're going to get a free ride. See, you dealing with a punk God that you can punk, you know what I mean? Oh yeah, I do what I want to do, and God ain't gonna do nothing, because see, all I got to do go to church on Sunday, and baby, I'm forgiven. You stop lying to yourself. Stop lying to yourself. The Bible says when he returns at the head of 10,000 with a sword in his hand and it's dripping with blood. Now you tell me, if he paid it all, why is there a judgment? Why is he coming to kill the wicked? So don't play with God. Don't play with him. He is not to be played with. Either we're going to clean it up and get where God will have mercy on us and empower us, or you better leave this thing alone, because he'll punish us for playing with him. Now, if the family is so important that God would take the most precious gift that he gives us, which is life, You read the Old Testament. Do you know it was forbidden for a man to dress in the clothing of a woman, or for a woman to dress in the clothing of a man? Now, pastors, dear pastors, look, this is real. Your job is to prepare a people for him.
All right.
Your job is not entertainment.
No, sir.
Your job is to feed the flock the word of God so that they may grow out of an animalistic stage of development and grow up into Jesus. Listen to me carefully now.
Come on. Let's go after it. Come on, minister.
Look. The people are really tired
Yes.
of this milquetoast kind of preaching. Let me just say this straight up, because I'm a straight up preacher. You know, I don't know any other way. If you tell me you love your children, but you won't discipline them. If you tell me you love your children, but there are no rules in your home to govern your house, you're confused. You don't love your children. You don't really love yourself. Because if God in his wisdom regulates the affairs of the heavens and the earth by means of law, then there's no way that you can have a decent home if that home has no rules that govern that house, and no punishment for those who break the rules of the house. Now, when I was coming up, my dear mother, I didn't have no father in the house, but my mother was tough enough for both. I didn't miss no man because she was really all that I needed. And she, in the Caribbean, went to the 8th standard, which I guess is compared to the 8th grade. So she didn't have any college degree and didn't know anything about psychology. But she knew about strapology, stickology, and broomology, and knew how to put a whelp on the behind. And it took sometime hours, sometime days. And when she would whip me sometimes, she would say, "I'm going to give you something to remember me by." I knew I was in deep trouble, brother. And then when I would lie, and you know, y'all lie. Everybody lies. Is anybody in here not a liar? Raise your hand. That's the liar right there. And why do you lie? Tell the truth. We lie to protect what we think will damage our security. Did you? No, yes, I did. Well, anyway, my mother would always catch me in these lies. I never could lie good enough to fool that woman. And then when she whipped me for the thing that I did. All right, that was over. She said, "Now come." Because the lie that you told is worse than the thing that you did. You see, son, a liar will steal. And a thief will murder. So I gonna cut you off at the lie. So
mother. What a mother. And I wouldn't have a heart to call 911. My finger would be left on the phone. And my mother would whoop the police if they came. I'm just telling you straight up. Don't come to my house when I'm disciplining my babies. I will discipline your behind. We as a family have to take back our right to put rules in our house and discipline our babies according to those rules. Now look, the Bible says, whom the Lord loves, he chasteneth much. And we are not to spare the rod.
No, sir. No, sir.
And spoil our child.
Yes, sir.
It doesn't mean that you beat them every time they do something wrong. But there's a discipline that must be imposed. And you know the old saying, a hard head makes, everybody knows. And see, behinds are made to be beat. They just made that way. Now somebody in the audience, I know something about the children in the audience say, oh Lord, now this man here. I'm sorry my mother brought me to see this maniac. I hope she ain't getting no ideas from him, because I sure am gonna call 911. Now, let me tell you something, sweetheart. Some of you are angry when your parents discipline you, because nobody likes it. But in the end, the policeman has a stick with lead in it. The policeman has a gun with lead in it. Now, wouldn't it be better to have mama touch up the butt out of love than for the police to touch up your head out of hate? And sometimes he will not stop with the stick, as you saw in Philadelphia the other night, as you saw with Rodney King, as you saw with Amadou Diallo. When you discipline in the home, as my mom did me, when I went to school, was another thing. There were rules. Naturally, I wanted to see if I could break them. But when they had a little rattan in those days, a little stick, and you go in the coat room, put your hand out, and they would take care of the business. I didn't like that. I did not like that. Then my mother threatened me. You keep that behavior up, I'm coming up to the school and pull down your pants in front of your classroom and beat your behind. Now that would be so embarrassing to me. So I straightened up. Now when I got out of school, I went to college. I was a rebel in college. A brother would tell you, I was a rebel. I mean, just like I am now. Considered I was that then, because this was before the Supreme Court decision. And I saw teachers having sex with the little girls, giving them good grades so they could come out and teach black children. And what the heck are you going to teach black children if you got your degree in screwology? I was race conscious. I didn't like what I saw.
Go ahead.
I was in rebellion against what I saw. And I spoke out against what I saw. I had never been in the South before, but I didn't like what I saw.
That's right.
In Richmond, Virginia, on my way to North Carolina, the bus had to stop.
for me to get something to eat. And I couldn't go in the front of the restaurant with the rest of the folk. I had to go around the back where the toilet was. And there was a little half moon thing right next to the toilet. And I got to ask for something to eat. No, I hated what America was doing to us. And I have to tell you straight up, man, I was born to be what I am and how I am today. I challenge wrong when I see it. I challenge hypocrisy when I saw it. I wanted to be an omega. I was a lamp. I learned all I was supposed to learn.
Yes, sir.
And they whipped me good. You know how they paddle you. And then one of the teachers threw a black ball in and said, this cat here, we don't want him as an omega. But today, they brought me my pen. Naturally. Because I'm a big fella now. I'm bigger than anybody ever thought I would be all over the world. Brother Farrakhan is honored because I have strength to stand up against the government of the United States of America when I know that government is wrong. You can't make a change unless you take courage and stand for what is right. Don't tell me you know Jesus and you can't stand against the modern Roman authorities when you see that they are in error. Don't tell me you know Moses, you know Abraham, you know Lot, you know David, you know Solomon. You don't know nothing if you're not going to stand for what you know is right. Now, what good is the church? What good is the mosque? What good is the temple or the synagogue if there's no discipline in the house according to the word of God? Teach. You mean to tell me people can just come to church as they are and you don't try to make them better? But you think Jesus is going to accept that on his coming? Or are you in for a heck of a surprise? Look at what he said he going to do. When you say, Lord, Lord, he say, depart from me, you worker of iniquity, for I know you not. Do you want to be rejected by the man you claim to serve? But that's the path that you're on right now. We playing with God. Church has no discipline. School has no discipline. Home has no discipline. So the streets are wild now. You scared to walk the streets because you didn't do your job at home. You didn't do the job in school. You didn't do the job in the church. Now you're scared to walk the street because your children are murderers in the street now. You produce this.
Good stuff, good stuff, good stuff, family. What we're gonna do, I just wanna, because we got about 20 minutes until brother's class, the trading class. I just want to get feedback of what stood out to you. I guess that's what we always do, but tomorrow I kind of want to go into what you wrote down in your notes. Let's dig into it. Let's dialogue about it. What he talked about in today's lecture series tomorrow. But today, let's limit it to about 1 to 2 minutes. And I just want to get y'all feedback. What stood out for you? What did you guys think? What did you guys get? Was it helpful from today's power call? Especially since we also have building wealthy families in here. So if anybody want to share, go ahead and press the number 1 at this time. Something that stood out for you, something that, you know, just like, man, I needed that little piece right there. Because remember, we all doing different things. We're all going through different things. So different things are going to stand out depending on where you are. Let's start off with the great Sister Yolanda.
My, as you started saying, the beginning really captured me, as well as he continued in the message. But the 300 years of not being allowed to marry, and the fathers, daddies, whatever the appropriate one is to use, because I became confused. The making of the children with, multiple women, how that is, I guess I could say, in our DNA, and we don't even realize or recognize it. And as I look at today's times, it makes me think of history repeating itself without the slavery of the chains and whips. But the chains and whips are in a different form. I was like, man, I was part of that equation because I have 2 children and I've never been married. Nevertheless, it's never too late to turn around and submit my will to do the will of God. Once I know better, then I should do better. I'm striving to do better. And that was just like, wow. I wonder if many have even thought about that. Those that have not heard the lectures from the minister, or really, delve into studying self and why I do things. But that was like, wow. Yes, wow. Okay. Assalamualaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you for sharing. Sister Farah.
Assalamu alaikum. One thing that stood out to me was when he said, you can't say you love your children and you don't discipline them. I believe he has a lecture called No Discipline, No Love. And he speaks deeper into that. But no, it's, some of us let our children run off into the street and, do whatever. You can't love what you can't control. He said that before too in another lecture. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. It'll come back to me. He said that I'm sorry.
That's no problem. We can come back if you want to.
Yeah, I'll just come back.
Cool.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Brother Daniel.
Yes, sir. I will pick the point of where he spoke about the importance of making a man and the importance that role plays in building the structure of a family. And also heard in that how divine law and discipline plays a role in that. And we have to be under divine law to be remade or reshaped in the way, knowing that divine law is strong against adultery and also fornication, because it destroys and erodes family. And with the God, anything that destroys or erodes family, there's a great penalty for it. Thank God that we're in grace, because he said if that law was applied today, he said all of us would be dead. So to have a chance under the 2 messiahs to get back to being made a man of God and walk their walk where we can produce strong families under the God and his 2 messiahs to reestablish the family is a wonderful thing. Thank you.
Praise be to Allah. Let's go to Sister Shireen.
Assalamu alaikum. I was struck by something else, but then when Sister Yolanda started talking about how our family was destroyed systematically, I think about the problem that we're having in our community because we have the women who have the children by different men. And so that whole Cain and Abel thing comes up in the families because of I don't have siblings with the same by the same father or the same mother, right? So all of my siblings, we have different mothers and different fathers. And so that creates a disconnect. You know, we call each other brother and sister, but there's always like this feeling of the whole piece isn't there. And I see it a lot when children are fighting each other and they're that ain't my brother, that ain't my real brother, or that ain't my real sister. And because they don't share the two biological parents together. And so the envy and the jealousy and that hatred really. And when we see women trying to make men take care of their other children by other men, and it's just a mess that has been created in this world by the enemy. And somebody said it in the chat, we got to clean it up and strengthen our families to get back to where we need to be to build the kingdom of Allah. That's it. Assalamu
Alaikum salam. All right, want to try Sister Farah again?
Assalamu alaikum. Yes, sir. I just remembered real quick. Yes, it's you can't protect what you can't control. And we're taught that love is duty and that Allah is love. And you can't say you love your children and you want them to walk the right path, the righteous path, and you're not training them and disciplining them so that they stay on that path. And we have to Allah works on our children through us. Allah works, we work on each other through each other. Allah exists within us, as well. So, that's how we show each other love through correcting each other through, action. You can't say you love each other and you're not displaying actions that provide that.
Yes, ma'am. Sister Gwen?
Assalamu alaikum, family. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, and I've been born and raised here. And I know in our history, the breakup of the family came when they built this project. And actually, the project was made for white people. It actually was not made for us. But they didn't have enough white people in downtown St. Louis to live there. So they started renting them out to our people. When our people moved there, they could not, if they were on any kind of public assistance, because they just came from the South and they didn't have the jobs, they started with the public assistance. They couldn't have their husbands there. So if you had a man and you all were trying to be a family, he couldn't live with you. And if he was caught there, they would put you out. And they had people in the building that would tell when the social workers and things came around that you had a man there. So they would look through your closets and stuff to see if there were male clothes there. So the men were sent to the women's friends' houses. So that's where the different babies came in. Because if I keep sending my husband to my friend's house because the social worker coming, what's going to end up happening? And so that's what ended up happening here in St. Louis. And it's a lot of sisters and brothers that don't know they sisters and brothers. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Sister Yolanda.
Another thing, it's interesting that we came across this today as our topic. Yesterday, student minister Brother Nuri had mentioned that we need to turn back to our original form. And last week we went over the money blueprint, as you mentioned, Brother Ben, that this what we had viewed was not just for money, but the blueprint for ourselves. And Brother Nori mentioned 3 things to bring back to our communities to get us back right. Was the prototype, which is Allah God himself, going through the process. And the 3rd step is the proof that the process works. So turning back to our prototype turns us back to our original blueprint from the beginning of its design, which is Allah God himself. We will never get that hood right until we get that head right. So this is another great reminder that how we have become subject to the obstacles that have been put in front of us. And, we tiptoe, we stick our little big toe or little toe in the water to see how it's going to work. And little do you know it, we have fallen prey to what they have set up to take us off course or from looking at our prototype. So being on these power calls and studying your lessons, as Brother Shakur always say, study your lessons. And then not only keeping it to ourselves, and I thank you for instituting this environment so that we can learn from all different walks of life, so we can take this word and share it however we, in our conversations, just getting back to our original selves. I don't care. My children used to tell me, oh, that's old time. I said, old time work. It worked. How did you think I got to where I am? And I'm still striving. I have fallen prey to some of the foolishness out here, but I fell down, I got back up, and I'm going to go the proper way. I'm going to keep striving to go the proper way. We all have good and evil. There's good and bad. There's a duality with everything. But as long as I stay the course and trust the process and not get down on myself. So I'm going to get into the mind of that helicopter to lift, to bring me back to my original state, my prototype, Allah God, and the minister and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad strive, did what they did for us to see. Trusting the process works. As the minister said in this lecture, that's why I can stand before the government. He speaks the truth. So again, brothers and sisters and family, trust in the process. Don't get down on yourself when we fall. Just pick yourself back up, brush your head back, get your collar straight, headpiece straight, dust off your knees, and let's keep marching. Don't stay on whatever mistake you made or whatever you see in front of you, because what you see is only temporary. But in our striving. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. All right. And I think that is everyone. Do anybody have anything that they would like to share the last 5 minutes of our call? I have some notes that I'll share tomorrow, but one of the things again, please rewatch this. If you came on a little late, when the replay goes up, please rewatch this, because tomorrow I do want to discuss in depth your notes and things that you actually wrote down so that we can dialogue about it. But one of the things that I wrote down is that the minister said, knowledge without God is not marriage. Marriage is only marriage if it is centered in him who created us and gave us these complementary natures. Knowledge without God is not marriage. So that was one of the things that stands out to me. And so when God is your center, all arguments and thoughts and decisions come in line with him in his way. So a lot of the disputes, if you both stand on the same thing, and there's no differences on who the center is, then a lot of things can be solved by just going back to your original teaching or your belief in God and how things should go according to his way. We all have our individual way that we wish things would go or should go, and our feelings and things of that nature. But after the feelings and emotions are removed, we can always go back to who was the center and what would the center want. And that's how you come up with a lot of solutions. So that was the thing for me. We don't have any more time now since y'all didn't press 1-2 minutes ago. So we are all about to go to BWF. Those of y'all who are in BWF, and hop on the trading call that starts in 4 minutes. I'm pretty sure he's going to be live in any minute now. I haven't seen him go live yet, but I'm pretty sure he'll be live in a minute now. So thank you all for watching. And remember, if you didn't watch everything or if you listened the whole time, watch it again. Take more notes, and then we'll discuss further in detail tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum, and I thank everybody for joining us this morning. If you're listening on YouTube or Facebook or anywhere else, you can join us by going to www.thepowercall.net and create a free profile and tune in with us Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Central Time. Assalamu alaikum.
Is Brother Ben here? Brother Ben. Now, Ben got a heck of a program. A lot of people listening to Brother Ben. And Ben tells them about the minister. And Ben tells them about the minister.